This is my Pelican Argo 100. I'm going to go over some of the mods I've done to it. I did all these mods today. Let's see what you think. So the first thing I did up in front, I made some homemade gear tracks. That's made out of 1/2-inch cutting board, mounted with stainless steel screws. This is a 1/4-inch slot, and then underneath it has a 1/2-inch, and then I plunge cut another little bit of a 1/2-inch here because I use toilet bowl bolts. These things are kind of expensive. They're a little over $3 for 2 of them. So if you know somebody who's a plumber, ask him if he's got any old toilet bowl bolts. Because what I do is I put these inside of a 1/2-inch or 1/4-inch or whatever, 3/4-inch or 1-inch, whatever size tubing you want to use. Anyway, this is 1/2-inch. So there's a nut inside there. Doesn't need it. I make the hole small and then I thread it, but I'm afraid that after a while the thread is going to wear out. So I put a nut inside and then I fill it with hot glue. And then this part here is from the irrigation department in the plumbing section. It's got a 1/2-inch threaded end on here and then a slip-on for like a tubing. And then this is a driveway marker. This is a 4-footer. So I cut a piece of vinyl to make my safety flag. So I saved myself about 20 bucks there. This was about $2, and then there was like another $2 for those 2 pieces. So it's reflective. So that's why I left this piece out so that the reflector will show. The next thing I did was I made this gear track. Well, I didn't make the gear track. I already had made a bunch of them. But I scratched it with something right there. But what's cool is check this out. When the sun hits it, it conforms to the shape of the kayak a little bit. So that's actually pretty neat. So that was my next, this is going to be for, I guess they can mount a depth finder, a camera. Actually, I made, where is it? Ha! That's funny. I was looking for my camera mount and it's under the camera. So excuse the wiggling, but this is the camera mount I made. It's got a 1/4-20 nut on the inside, and then a rubber washer from plumbing stuff. And of course, this is a special gear track I was gonna use for mounting things outside of my kayak. That way I can screw this to the kayak and mount stuff out here. Anyway, this is for mounting a camera. Pretty cool. I had this boat had these ugly paddle holders. These things are terrible. They hold the paddle too tight, so I was actually able to lift the kayak off the ground with those 2 holders, and they still didn't let go. So when I was over at Home Depot, I saw these things. These are meant for holding tools like rakes, shovels, what have you. It says it'll hold, this one says it'll hold 4.4 pounds, 4.5 pounds. But that's actually this way. This is just, you know, laying on its back. So I use these. This is the small size. This one is 2 7/8. So those I think are right at 3 inches, I think. Anyway. But listen to how much noise it makes when I pull it off the kayak. See, that's what they look like when they're not being used. And then when you set the pedal on it, look how quiet it is when you put it away. Didn't make any noise. Those things make a loud thunk going in and coming out. So I was at the Goodwill yesterday and I saw this little mesh bag and I thought, hey, that thing would probably work in my kayak. It's a yak gear bag. So when I mount things in kayaks, underneath and behind them, I always use little bits of plastic. This is actually a little Tyke's toy. That's just a piece of a bassinet or something. but you see all the holes where I make my own washers for everything. And if you want to make circles without the hole in the middle with your hole saw kit, take a piece of foam or a piece of wood or something and cut you some holes. Lay this over the plastic. Take the screw the drill bit out of the middle of the hole saw, and then you can run the hole saw through here, and you make perfect circles that don't have the hole in them. So that's what I use these for. So for the inside is what I use, the one that doesn't have the hole. I'll make a tiny drill bit hole, and I'll put that onto the screw, and then when I screw this in, it's actually two pieces of this squashing on the inside. The ones in here I think are flat, but that's how I mount things on kayaks. I added a cleat, so in case you want to tie yourself out or you want to carry an anchor with you, there's a good spot for an anchor right down there. A rod holder that has a pad eye on it. I bought this trunk thing, I saw it probably at the Goodwill a long time ago. It didn't fit in there. It kind of went in there and it looked like this when it was in there. So what I did was I heated it up. I heated it up with my heat gun. It's kind of ugly, but you can't see that from the outside anyway. I heated it with the heat gun so that it would fold back in. This is actually pretty thick. I don't have the hatch cover for it, so I took an old boogie board and I cut a circle just a little bit bigger than the hole. Body glove boogie board. Did that to it. Added a paddle to it. The drain that was on here, the drain plug that was on it, I have no clue where I put it, but it was this little tiny piece of rubber. I think it was made out of that same stuff as that. No, it was made of rubber, and it was stuffed inside there, and it was just a little tiny hole. When I took this kayak out this morning, it rained the other day. This whole back end was full of water. So I stood it up, and it probably took almost 10 minutes for that water to drain out. So this hole that I put here is probably twice that size now. So now it actually has a decent drain plug. But those are my mods to my Pelican Argo 100. Of course, the safety flag doesn't normally go in the front, so I'm probably going to add another one of those little gear tracks right back here. I'll probably put this one crossways. But that's the Argo 100. Rainy day mods. Well, it's supposed to have been a rainy day, but I don't see no rain yet. It's supposed to be bad weather coming in. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.